Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Lauren.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just got out of the shower because I needed to wash off the TikTok of on my being after watching the TikTok Dancing with the Stars night, Josh.
It was like your Super Bowl and election night all rolled into one.
I mean, it really was. It was intense. The only way let's just from henceforth describe it as the TikTok infomercial is what it was, because that is what it was.
And so why don't you explain in more layman's terms to the audience?
Yeah, so basically, historically, normally, Dancing with Stars will do like theme nights. They have like of course they do a Halloween night, which you can imagine is just like amazing. Next week is Disney night. And so and so on. Like they did One Hit Wonders night. So last night was this week was TikTok night. It was the first time they'd ever done anything like this. They've really leaned quite heavily into TikTok this year because they had Charli D'Amelio on a couple of years ago who won, and they, Dancing with Stars has kind of become cool, as the kids say. And
they want to be hip with that Gen Z, Gen Alpha crap.
Yeah, and as we've discussed before, like the sort of organic connection between dance and TikTok, I should say, and dance, and then now specifically ballroom dancing it's just, you can't write this stuff, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's all for all intents and purposes. It's absolutely, from a business standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, 100% what they should be doing. That being said, oh my God. So I took the liberty of writing all of my thoughts down while watching 2 hours of this. I'm not going to read all of them, Josh. I may post all of these though. But
it's up to 54 and counting?
54 and counting thoughts, yes, that I had about sort of watching this. And like a couple highlights, if I may. My first thing I wrote down was like, Instagram must want to die. Because like, it was just like, I have to imagine that TikTok paid for this. Like, I have to imagine there was some monetary something. It must have been, right?
Or
like
some type of, at least some marketing partnership in some capacity.
Well, they're definitely, because there were certain dances where they did the overlay, like they were on TikTok, like for a couple like beats or whatever, right? And so like, obviously they got the marketing, what's crazy, before I go down my list, is, when Instagram was, let's say, at its real height in popularity and culture and stuff, the shitty thing is that like, it was still at a time when doing that kind of an integration with a social platform was too early. And you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have gone as deep. And the technology wasn't there the way it is today. You couldn't have gotten that seamless of an overlay. Like I can just remember like, working with the comms team at Facebook and Instagram and trying to get like a link properly embedded into a website was sometimes still an issue.
When you say it's an overlay, the screen basically went to like vertical video format?
Correct.
That's so cool.
Correct. Twice.
What was on the bars?
Dances.
What was on the bars on the side?
Black.
Wow.
Black. And then they did, and then they had the hearts, and they did it with Alex Earl, and they did it with Mark Ballas and his partner, who is Whitney something. I think of Whitney, but she's one of the Mormon housewives these Mormon housewives came up. They're all TikTok women that like came up dancing. Like the one of them was kind of creepy. The first dance, I think it was the first dance of the night. I guess her first big TikTok viral video was when she had just given birth in the hospital. Yeah. And so she's like dancing. So the dance was her in like a fake prosthetic belly for like a minute dancing. And it was like, everybody was kind of like, all right. Like the judges were like, no, the belly was a little bit much. So, okay, a couple fun things. Instagram, these are a couple of my fun. I'm going to read some highlights. Instagram must want to die. OMG China. How much did TikTok pay for this? You couldn't pay for this kind of press. And then they said something like the worldwide sensation of TikTok. And then I wrote, except for the countries that it's been banned. Example, India. Does India not count? Is it not a country? Like, India has like more per capita people than like, I don't even know. But no, it doesn't count. Cool, we're good. And then I wrote, cut to Instagram night on Dancing with the Stars in India, which
probably YouTube Shorts night on Dancing with the Stars in India.
Take what you get. What I found, so the entire audience was basically made up of like TikTokers and stuff. And what I found kind of, I don't know if troubling is the right word, but just the reality that we're in is that, it's called Dancing with the Stars, and the stars in the next 10 years are all going to be like TikTokers and YouTubers.
100%,
like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's not going to be movie stars anymore to like do this. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's a lot.
There will still be Real Housewives. Bravo celebrities. Dancing with the Stars will be Bravo celebrities.
And they're still going to make movies and TV shows, but it's just going to be like, whereas it used to be like, it's, as of 2 years ago, it was like, oh my God, you have a TikToker on, this is crazy. And now it's like 3 out of all, 3 out of whatever I call it, a dozen contestants or social media, it's like it's just like it's just going to keep getting bigger.
But what's interesting though is millennials have a tight grip on nostalgia culture. We haven't let younger generations have a lot of like new cultural kind of touch points and big touchstones.
No, but these were their new cultural touch points.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But in what used to be monoculture in television, film, etc., it's all stuff that we grew up with and we really liked, that we've been forcing into the hearts and minds of younger generations. And I think that explains a little bit why there's this appeal for all of these TikTokers, all of these YouTubers, etc. Obviously, because of the technology is easier for these kids to get a hand on. Obviously, because there's way more people that are involved in the entertainment ecosystem than there could have been before. But also just because we haven't come up with any new ideas. It's all stuff that we've liked.
I know, and it's because there's no market for them.
Yeah,
basically.
And so what I'm saying too is, I think like individuals who were on Saved by the Bell still might be on Dancing with the Stars in 10, 20 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Can I read some more of my commentary? Because it's really good. So of course, so one of the Mormon housewives, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for TikTok. So start posting now. Charlie D'Amelio, TikTok changed my life and the life of so many people. I wrote, this is getting so gross. And then, Jordan Childs, who is the Olympic athlete on it, she goes, I use TikTok as my outlet with anxiety. Maybe a lot of people need it in the world. I mean, literally, she's like, can we, speaking of TikTok, can we put some vomit emojis on this?
Yeah, just some effusive praise.
I mean, it was just, and I literally wrote, America, we have officially sold our soul. Is that George Lopez? I think he was in the audience. One of the Mormon wives, I guess one of her biggest TikToks, her first one was like 35 million views dancing in her PJs. And I said, okay, we all need to get a life. Oh, and then there's the Pentatonics guy who is partnered with Riley Arnold. Riley Arnold is one of the pros who she's big on TikTok, and his whole, because they'll do a package before they do the show about them training for the dance, and his whole bit was that he did had a viral. He married his husband. He had a gay wedding wherein they did a dance and that went viral on TikTok, and like now the world is okay. Like this is the messaging. Like it's good for anxiety. It's good for the gays. It's good for feeding people. It's your dreams can come true and you could be on Dancing with the Stars. Oh wait, my favorite one, Robert Irwin, you gotta love him, the nature guy. TikTok is an avenue to connect with nature. I wrote, or you could just go to nature and leave the house. Like I was just like, one thing that I did think was interesting, because if you remember several years ago, we talked about it on the podcast, was a lot of folks that had originally choreographed like what became very major viral sensation and moves, were not getting the credit. They were giving credit to a lot of, because they incorporated a lot of these, viral dance moves into the whole night. And there were at least a couple in person, they were giving credit to those like choreographers there, which I thought was actually very interesting.
That is very cool. And kudos to them. And they have to, right? I mean, if there's any show that's going to give credit to actual dancers, it's going to be Dancers with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, yes.
Yes.
A couple other, Alex Earl, No Dreams Are Too Big, Just Go For Them, from Alex Earl. And I wrote, please don't. And then what are the other things I got to say, honestly? Like, because a lot of the music, or all the music basically was TikTok, music that had become viral on TikTok, whether or not it had been famous. And there was some Bieber, which is good, but like a lot of the music was freaking terrible. Like, can we just, like, these are not songs that I was excited. Anyway.
But these songs aren't for you.
I understand that, Josh. I can accept that. I'm just telling you my thoughts. This was my list and my thoughts. And then, yes, the last one I wrote is I need to take a shower. I mean, and then it was funny because I was, of course, scrolling on Instagram as I was watching this, and I came across the Republican Utah Governor Cox calling social media a cancer that's driving division in America. It's taking all the worst impulses and putting them on steroids. It's driving us to division. It's driving us to hate. So, but, long live TikTok. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, man. It was a lot, because I think that knowing the show so well and knowing that they were treating TikTok the way they treat Disney, you know what I mean? Like that, with that reverence, with that, that I found troubling. Like whether or not you think it should be banned, we shouldn't be worshiping the feet of, you know what I mean? I think that's a little bit much, but they be marketing, they be doing their thing.
I think it's hard to do nuance on primetime television.
Yes. So I would say there was roughly no nuance as it came as it pertain to this, but I got through it. I watched it, and yeah, there you go.
But Lauren, we're currently in season 34 of Dancing with the Stars. By season 35 of DWTS, on that season's TikTok night, you might have just a whole different feeling about it.
I mean, I certainly might. And if I end up, my dreams come true and I can ever end up on the show, I mean, I'm going to be TikToking till the night. All day, man. Never been on the platform, never signed up, but I'm going to be on it. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, you might have a whole other emotional response to the night because they all might be dancing to whatever the US version of the TikTok app is going to be called.
True. Like, we don't know. Well, let's get on to their first big story as it relates to TikTok. There's been some movement, some would argue, some would say not movement, with regards to sort of the never-ending TikTok saga. Will it go? Will it stay? And evidently, the White House issued an executive order that clears the way for acquisition of TikTok's U.S. assets. A group of corporate billionaires and venture firms, including Oracle, Silver Lake Management, will take control of a U.S. version of TikTok tentatively in a deal that's valued around $14 billion. There's no indication that China is on board with this. So, just because the president says it is true does not mean that this is actually going to happen.
Yeah, and if it did happen, ByteDance and its affiliates will own less than 20% of the U.S. version of TikTok, while these other investors will own 80%. And that $14 billion price is also about what eMarketer pegged as the revenues of TikTok in the United States were for the previous year. So it's in line with that. I think it would cost more, honestly. I'm surprised by the price, but who knows? It may end up being way more. In any case, Trump seems more confident with this than ever. I mean, never before has he signed an executive order talking about the deal with TikTok. So that would probably indicate that it's closer than ever to being done, though who knows. And I think what this does is also just raise some questions of what will a US version of TikTok actually be like? Will other areas of the world be able to watch this US version of TikTok? We talked about before how senators from Australia were contemplating if there are going to be two versions of TikTok and one is going to be presumably more safe and not controlled by China than the other. Australia would like to use the US version of TikTok too. How are international audiences going to use TikTok? Will India adopt the US version of TikTok?
I mean, Instagram is going hard in India right now. I will tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, YouTube Shorts, I think, has a stranglehold on just the Indian short form video market. Fine. There's one town in India where like 80% of them are on YouTube Shorts, just crushing it.
I mean, I believe you. I'm not. This isn't to take away from YouTube Shorts. I was just when I think of. Anyway, go on. I understand.
TikTok competitors, you think Instagram, right?
Correct. I think all competitors are going deep in India right now, just being like, fuck, I got one left. You know what I mean?
But also, I think it raises questions about what this actual US app would look like. So Trump was asked by supporters, how will this new TikTok be different? What will the algorithm be like? To which Trump responded, cool, I always like MAGA related. If I can make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately, Trump said. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly. TBD on how that actually turns out.
I feel like it's an honest response. He's saying what he wants. I mean, you can't fault, at least he's not lying. He would like it to be a certain thing, and he's probably like, it's not going to be a certain thing. So there you go.
TikTok also hasn't responded to this formally yet. The Chinese Foreign Ministry did say last Friday that the Chinese government, quote, respects the wishes of the company and is pleased to see the company conduct commercial negotiations and reach a solution that complies with Chinese laws and regulations and balances interests, all while adhering to market rules, end quote.
I'm just dubious if China's like on board with something. I feel like something's going on in the back end that's, something that I don't know. Well, let's see what happens.
What's more here too is Larry Ellison's Oracle is going to be a big investor in this US version of TikTok.
Which has been consistent since like Trump's first term, that he's been like
100%.
Yeah, been a part of this.
Donald and Larry are seemingly buddies. They're going to do a lot of business together.
A lot of deals.
But what's interesting is that if this goes through, and Oracle and Larry Ellison, by way of Oracle, who's now jockeying back with Elon Musk as being the number one or number two richest person in the world at over $400 billion in net worth, he is building a little bit of a media empire here through just his whole family. So last year, Skydance Media merged with Paramount, and Larry's son, David Ellison, runs Paramount. And This means that through his family, Larry Ellison has a controlling stake in the broadcast network CBS, in Paramount Plus, in multiple movie studios, CBS News, and almost all of Viacom, Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, and more. And I just think it sets up this man to be this huge media mogul, I think the likes of which we haven't really seen before.
You don't think the Murdochs have been doing something similar, or
so
the
the
Redstones?
So maybe a new version of that, but they haven't had access to one of the most popular and influential social media apps on the planet.
Yes, from a social media standpoint, yes. But I think that there have been other families, if you will, that have had, relatively equivalent amounts of power. Not necessarily a good thing or bad thing. Probably not a good thing, but I'm just saying, like, it's not unusual for like these things to happen per se.
100%. I think it's setting Ellison up to be the next Murdochs of the world in their media power and influence and reach.
Yeah, no, totes. Setting up some sort of, we're looking at conglomerates. It's super fun, guys. People just need to understand that, like, there's biases in, all reporting and news and this and that. But I also, like, hesitate in saying that because I just feel like there's so little trust in the world for, like, that I feel like it's a dangerous world to live in where you trust everything, and it's a dangerous world to live in where you trust no one. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like we've gotten in the direction where nobody trusts anybody, except if they're like a random person on TikTok. You know what I mean? Because like they can't be lying to me because they didn't come from like with some agenda. I'm like, of course they have a fucking agenda. Their agenda now is to get more views. And you know what I mean? And so it's like, I'm just like, can they stay out of my Dancing with the Stars? Can they just like leave me alone? Like, come on, people. In other TikTok-related adjacent news, we've got a few folks out there that are making like more short-form app versions of like TikTok on their own platform. So the first up is OpenAI. They launched a TikTok-like app for AI videos that lets you deepfake your friends. Oh, this isn't going to end badly at all. Evidently, you have to give consent, but ish. So the invite only platform works similar to TikTok with a scrollable video feed. Instead of duets or stitches, users record short clips that others can transform into new AI-generated videos with consent. Each invite gives access to the app plus 4 additional invitations to share with others.
Lauren, here's what I actually love about this. Well, first of all, it's invite only now, and I think you can only create up to 10-second videos, and you can deepfake yourself and your friends with permission in multiple different ways. But what I love here is the idea where it's one feed that is all AI generated, and you go to that and you can be scrolling through that content like you would any other content, but you, again, with the knowledge that none of this is real. And I think this could be an interesting adoption for other social platforms. So there's been all this hand-wringing about how are we going to decide what's real and what's not real in the future? How are we going to differentiate between fake news and non-fake news when it looks like it's coming from a real person that you know and trust with their voice and more? And I think if there's any kind of technology that could detect whether something is AI generated or not, and then just stick it into the AI feed of that platform, I think that could really have some benefits for alleviating a lot of that concern. Not all of it. There'll be ways to work around it. And if you like export the posts to other social platforms, that could raise some concerns. But I think at its core, it's an interesting thing to consider about having a separate AI feed on these types of networks.
It's just like, it's so, listen. One day my entire personality will not be the Summer I Turned Pretty, but we're still in it. And so the point is that I get surfaced a lot of content right now as it relates to that show and the memes and this, that. And there's, of course, Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah, and the guy who plays Conrad, he's the one who's like just totally broken out. And I'm scrolling the other day and I see this video, and he famously, but he has a girlfriend and like, but whatever. And of course people are trying to make it that he's with the girl in the show, and he's definitely not. And all the press that he does, that he's very close. Like you could see that he's very much not trying to like insinuate there's anything going on. Like he's being very respectful and this and that. And I see this video the other day, and it's him talking, being like, so I made these rules with my girlfriend and I won't do this and I won't do that. And I'm watching this and it's cutting whatever. And then it literally took me a minute to be like, oh, this is fucking AI. And it was his voice. It was, but I was like, but the only reason that I knew that, not because it indicated it anywhere, not because I thought that the technology was bad, it was because I have come from the media world and I'm positive that he would have never done this. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason. But if I were just some, common just a normie that had no media background, I would have thought he did this. And it wasn't to say that it was so bad, but he's never said any of this. So it is bad. And so it's just kind of a really, and again, I feel like I'm fairly sophisticated in that kind of stuff. And it took me a minute. It took me because why? Also, because you're kind of like doom scrolling and you're not really paying attention. And then it gets burned in your brain and you're just like, well, this person obviously, and you're like, it's not that harmful. So whatever. But it's like, if you actually didn't say this or do this, you don't want anybody to, I don't know.
And also the way the human brain works, if it looks and feels real in that moment, you kind of don't remember that
you don't remember that it's not real. 100%. You don't remember. Like it's really fucked up. So I don't know, I'm becoming a voluntary like Luddite in my old age. So I'm just like, can we
that's
just
what I'm saying. So if it was on a separate AI feed of The Summer I Turned Pretty, you would have known.
Sure, but my point is that it's going to be taken advantage of, and it's not going to just live there. And so yes, I get their consent and and in all these things, but right now today, it's just not necessarily the case, which is just kind of terrifying.
Yes.
Additionally, because we don't have enough short form apps, DoorDash is rolling out a creator program for short form videos with AI features, dine-in rewards. I mean, let's go. So first of all, when I first read this, I was like, #things no one needs, right? Is like an AI short form video, whatever, creator program at DoorDash.
That's what I go to my food delivery services.
But then I was like, everybody's doing food reviews.
Yeah.
You might as well do food reviews on the app with which I can buy the food, because I'm a big DoorDash user. Oh my God, the other day, the guy was so stoned. He delivered it and first to like a different, and then my neighbor's house. I mean, it was so bad. I've never, normally DoorDash, I have a great experience. It was bad. So initially I was kind of like, ugh, whatever. But I was like, they should own all the food reviews and it should be there. And then there should be an integration. And then I can order the pad thai and then call it a day. So I'm actually not mad at this one.
And so do you think as you're perusing DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever, you would click on short form videos?
Well, I'll give you an example. There's a guy, I think it's called What Kev Eats or something like that. And he does mostly in LA. You know this guy, but he travels too, and it's always in his car. And I don't know, I love this guy. Like he just takes these bites and he's dipping it in the sauce and whatever. And he's eating like, not all street food. Like sometimes it's like, he did this one series where it was like trying all chain steak restaurants and like, that kind of stuff. And it's real. And like, he's a guy that I would, he actually, and I actually downloaded it. It's called like Biter. He invested or is a part of, in some regard, this app that's like basically trying to do exactly this. But it's like they should do a deal with What Kev Eats and have him on DoorDash. And they should have like ambassadors that are really legit. Because that's the thing. If there's legit food guys like him that I would love to like be like, what does Kev think about this? Where's the best pad thai? I don't know. I keep thinking pad thai because I love to order pad thai.
And it'd be interesting if the internal then ad sales networks of these apps could then sell higher placement of the videos from creators that are promoting their restaurants. It could get interesting all around.
All right, Josh, do you have any uploads or downloads? I have an upload. You and I are both going to be at VidSummit next week in Dallas. We're going to be doing the podcast from there. VidSummit is a conference that was in LA for a while, and in the last few years it's been in Dallas. I went I think for the first time last year, the first Dallas one. And what's interesting about it, it's kind of the conference itself is a little bit of just like how to hack YouTube kind of a thing, but the actual like attendees, I think, are what makes it great, because it's like, for folks that can't like necessarily make it to like a VidCon or something like that, you're dealing with like Dallas, which is like obviously a sort of less expensive city and centrally located. And so you're getting a lot of really interesting Southern, Midwestern kind of creators that are really like, a lot of them they don't live and work within a community of creators. And so it's really nice to see people come together. I still remember last year I met this woman, she's like Lemons to Lemonades, I think is her her YouTube, and she does flipping of, there's so many people doing like, flipping of Facebook market, like furniture and stuff like that. And it's a huge, like, I would say industry, but a huge like vertical now in the space. And a lot of those kind of folks go. And I'm really excited to go and see all the people. That's, Josh is going to get out of the house. It's exciting.
I'm super excited, especially because the type of people that are there, these are all operators. These are all craftspeople that happen to be on YouTube. And so the kinds of conversations you overhear are like, I remember last time I was there, a group of individuals and one big YouTuber were talking about their click-through rates. He was like, yo, dude, on this video, I had like a 74% click-through rate. And they were like, yo, what'd you do, bro? And they were high-fiving each other and trying to figure it out. But it's that kind of conversation and talk where they get really granular into the details.
It's not a fan convention. It's a real, like, how do you make a business work on YouTube with both with video and like doing other probably side hustles and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I'm psyched to go and I'll be there. And
which airline are you traveling there, Lauren?
I think I'm traveling American.
I'm traveling American too, but here's my upload. If we were traveling Delta, we would be able to watch some YouTubers on the way.
Truth. Tell us more about that, Josh.
So Delta has inked a partnership between itself and YouTube that will bring a curated selection of YouTube content to Delta's seatback screens. It started on September 25th. It was something they teased at the CES trade show in January, and now it's up and running. To be clear, this isn't the first time that there have been creators in airplanes. When Virgin America first launched, it had this huge push where it had like Felicia Day, Geek and Sundry, a bunch of web series.
Well, they did, and they did also their safety video was with
Todrick Hall.
Todrick. I was like, oh, I love Todrick. It was so good.
Yes. And so there was this little moment in time led by Virgin where they were really embracing creators and creators were becoming part of the in-flight experience. So a decade later, creators are back and you can watch them at 35,000 feet. I think what'll be interesting here is to see and know like which creators get selected. Does that really do anything for their kind of like recall viewership? Is it just a status symbol? Are you going to be watching Mr. Beast on the person's screen who's sitting?
What's the monetization for the creators? I mean, are they going to show ads?
Exactly. All up in the air. Who knows?
Oh my God, look at that pun. Up in the air. Get it? I don't think you didn't even know you did that, did you?
I always know I do that.
All right, Josh, I think we did it.
Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you actually in Dallas next week.
I'm looking forward to it, Joshua.
And if not there, I mean, I'll see you there.
Yep. We'll
also on Creator Upload.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, as well Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.